Welcome back to Athletic Everyday, day number 233. Got a very, very nice, I guess you could call this a low body workout, but I trained weightlifting as well. So pretty much everything was trained today. Warmed up with a little bit of sled, and then I moved into some box jumps. Box jumps was really just to warm me up before the weightlifting. This was supposed to be just a purely weightlifting workout, but I know for a fact that box jumps always warm me up. They potentiate my muscles, and they get me feeling really, really explosive and powerful for the weightlifting movement. Something I would highly, highly recommend before you do any kind of explosive weighted movement. So that could be a high pull, a clean, a trap bar jump, squat jump, whatever it is. Before you load your body with weights and then try and jump and do some explosive with them, I would highly recommend that you do some kind of unloaded jump or something explosive, because there's no way that you can move your body faster when it's loaded than when it is unloaded. You can move and you can create the highest rate of force development when you're unloaded. So we're talking sprints and we're talking jumps generally. So by doing that, you're potentiating your body to the most possible before you then go and add weight to it and add load to it and essentially slow it down. Which is why, if you want to get more explosive and become a more powerful and better athlete, you don't just do explosive. I mean, it's very rare that you'll find someone who's made serious progress from just doing light weights and doing light weights incredibly fast. You have to work both ends of the force velocity curve. You have to work high force activities, so heavy movements, so strength focused movements like squats, deadlifts, pushing and pulling exercises, loading them with as much weight as possible. That's how you get stronger. That increases the sort of baseline level of force that you can put out. And then you work the other end of the curve. You work for maximum speed by getting faster, and that comes from doing sprints, jumps with very, very minimal load or practically no load at all. The fastest you can move is by having no load attached to your body and your body just moving freely through space. And then weightlifting movements are kind of an interesting one, because they actually work sort of the middle of the curve. Or maybe depending on how heavy you do the movements, if you do maybe some lighter power snatches and cleans, I guess you could say that is more towards the speed end of the curve, and then if you do heavier lifts, then that will be more towards the strength end of the curve. But they tend to work the sort of middle of the curve, because you're moving ideally as heavy weights as possible, and then you're moving those heavy weights as fast as possible. Anyway, getting into the workout. For the snatches, I decided that I would do a 2+1 and then a 1+1 of high hang power snatch, followed by a high hang snatch. It's a really nice complex, because high hang power snatch, you're basically focusing on pulling with the upper body a lot more, and then when you go straight from that into the high hang snatch, it really emphasizes your pull under the bar. So here is a side angle view of me doing it from 80 kilos and basically coming up on my toes, my heels pop up there. That's fine though, made the lift and finished it. Then I tried to go for another set of the same thing. When I went up to 80 kilos, I didn't actually do 2+1, I just did 1+1. So one power snatch, one high hang power snatch, followed by one hang snatch. I missed the second rep, so I decided that I would just do a double high hang snatch. And both of those reps felt really, really nice and really, really powerful. And I think I can attest a lot of that to warming up with box jumps. One of the best ways to warm up for weightlifting movements. Then I moved into a clean complex. I decided that I was going to do a 1+1+1/2, depending on how I was feeling in the weight. So it was a full clean, followed by a front squat, followed by a jerk or two jerks. So the reason I decided that I would just do a complex is because I wanted to kind of get a little bit more, I guess you could say, weightlifting specific higher volume training. So adding in the extra front squat will really do that, and that also fatigues you a little bit more for that jerk. So it trains you to be able to jerk the same weight overhead, but just by being a lot more fatigued. So it's quite nice for a little bit of, I guess you could say, a tiny bit of strength endurance, but you also maybe get a bit of hypertrophy benefit, and it just makes that jerk that little bit harder, which was all the more fun. It's always very tempting for me to be like, I don't want to do the jerk. The jerk's, it's not that explosive, it's just upper body training, but it really, really isn't. I think I read somewhere in a study quite recently that in all sports, all movements, when it comes to like barbell sports, the highest rate of force development movement that you can possibly do is a split jerk. Because that dip and then that drive phase, that having to reverse the weight and then dropping into that quarter squat position, yielding into that quarter squat position, and then having to jump the bar straight up, back out of that position, and land in that split position, is incredibly, incredibly explosive. You experience your legs, especially your knees, quads, your glutes to a certain extent, they experience very, very high peak forces in that turnaround phase. As the bar is in that transition phase between that dip and that drive. Then I worked up to 110 kilos and changed it again. I decided that I was going to do a power clean plus a clean plus, plus a jerk. And that's it. And I was pretty pleased with that. That's the heaviest weight I've jerked in a while, and it felt like it moved really, really well. And the power cleans are also feeling really, really good as well. So very, very good workout overall when it comes to weightlifting movements. Very different story when it comes to the squats. I missed that last jerk there, but for the squats, I decided I was going to do some higher volume stuff. 9x8, 90 by 8, 110 by 8, and then I just did, I guess you could say this was kind of an AMRAP plan, a few more reps left in the tank, but 110 kilos for 10 reps. All right, that's it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I will hopefully catch you guys in the next video.